One bad decision, multiple felonies. This is how it happens.
Rafael Javier has been booked into jail. He's the bald man with the black shirt seen on this wild witness cell phone video that captured a road rage shooting. You can hear a verbal fight before Javier takes out a handgun and racks it. Then he's seen throwing a punch. The heated exchange happened in a Costco parking lot in Davie on Wednesday. You see the argument goes on for some time, but as the driver of the black GMC finally starts to leave, you see Javier fire his gun at the car's back tire. Javier was in bond court on Thursday where they laid out his charges.
This viral clip from a South Florida Costco parking lot isn't just another road rage video. It's a masterclass on what not to do with a firearm, even in an open carry state like Florida. Today, we're breaking down the official police affidavit to explain why Rafael Javier was arrested and charged with multiple felonies, and sharing 3 takeaways every responsible gun owner should know. Javier, age 52, was arrested and booked on a $46,500 bond for several serious charges. 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, a 3rd-degree felony, shooting a missile into an occupied vehicle, a 2nd-degree felony, and criminal mischief, a 1st-degree misdemeanor. According to the affidavit, the incident began when the driver of a GMC SUV failed to yield at a stop sign and flipped off Javier. Both men got out of their vehicle and began arguing. The GMC driver, identified as the victim in the report, punched Javier in the face. Up to this point, Javier may have arguably been the victim, especially if the SUV driver hit or shoved him first. Javier could have responded with the same level of non-deadly force being used against him in self-defense. But this is the turning point. After Javier was punched, he went back to his gray Mercedes, retrieved a 9mm Sig Sauer handgun, and re-engaged. Javier allegedly told police he retrieved his gun because he was in fear and that he kept his firearm down by his side the whole time. However, surveillance footage shows Javier chambering a round, approaching the SUV driver again, and waving the gun in his face. The victim told officers the gun was pointed at him twice. The affidavit also notes Javier threw punches while holding the firearm. But here's arguably the worst mistake. After the victim returned to his vehicle, Javier walked to the back of the SUV and fired a round into the tire, disabling it. Javier told police he did this to prevent the victim from leaving. But this statement destroyed any self-defense justification for using the gun. By stating that he shot the car to prevent the GMC driver from leaving, he indicated his intent in shooting the tire was to detain, not to defend his life. Yes, Florida constitutional carry allows you to carry a firearm and use it in legitimate self-defense, but it does not give you the right to brandish it to intimidate, to retaliate, or to settle personal grievances. The law considers pointing a gun at someone a threat to use deadly force. That threat is only legal when you have a reasonable, imminent fear of death or great bodily harm, or you're preventing the imminent commission of a forcible felony. The person you are defending against must be doing something that is considered use or threatened use of deadly force, such as attacking you with a knife or a gun, to justify a response with the use or threatened use of deadly force, such as brandishing and shooting a firearm. By returning to his car, arming himself, re-engaging, and then shooting the tire, Javier failed that test. As the affidavit says, Javier left the argument and went to his vehicle where he could have contacted police or remained in safety. Instead, he re-engaged the incident and presented the firearm. So here are 3 takeaways for gun owners. First, de-escalate. Don't re-engage. Once the threat is over, so is your legal justification to use force. A shove or punch, unpleasant as they may be, are rarely grounds for brandishing a firearm. Second, a firearm is for protecting life, not defending pride. Introducing a firearm turns any situation into a use of deadly force encounter in the eyes of the law, so make sure it is justified. Third, don't rely on the idea of a warning shot. Some people mistake a warning shot for a lawful act of deterrence, but under Florida law, discharging a firearm even into a tire, the ground, or the air is not legally treated as a mere warning. It is viewed as the use of deadly force that must be justified. In other words, there is no legal safety valve for just a warning shot. Florida law doesn't recognize a legal distinction between a warning shot and actually using deadly force. If you draw your firearm, it must be because you're facing an imminent threat of death or great bodily harm, not to send a message, intimidate, or make someone comply. In short, if you're not legally justified in shooting to stop a threat, you are not legally justified in firing a warning shot. Carrying a firearm comes with immense legal responsibility. If Javier had simply called the police after returning to his car, he may have been the victim instead of facing felony charges today. If you found this breakdown helpful, like, subscribe, and share it with a friend or a loved one. Drop your questions in the comments. I read them all. Stay safe, stay informed. I'll see you in the next one.